Will China's string of pearls strangle India? A provocative question indeed. China's string of pearls, a network of strategic infrastructure from the South China Sea to the Horn of Africa, is causing ripples in the geopolitical landscape. As China extends its reach across the Indian Ocean, India finds itself in an uncomfortable position. Will this ostensible economic venture turn into a strategic chokehold, or is it just a harmless pearl necklace adorning the neck of the Indian Ocean? Let's dive into the depth of this intriguing geopolitical issue, shall we? Opening. What exactly is this string of pearls? Well, imagine a shimmering necklace draped across the map, stretching from the South China Sea to the Horn of Africa. This isn't your ordinary piece of jewelry, though. The string of pearls refers to a strategic network of Chinese-funded and operated ports, naval bases, and other key infrastructure projects along the Indian Ocean's rim. Each pearl in this necklace is a critical location. Some of the most prominent are Gwadar Port in Pakistan, Hambantota Port in Sri Lanka, Chittagong Port in Bangladesh, Kyaukphyu Port in Myanmar, and Djibouti Naval Base in Djibouti. These pearls are more than just shiny baubles. They represent deep-sea ports, naval bases, and associated infrastructure such as roads, railways, and pipelines that China has painstakingly strung together. But why go to all this effort? The answer is twofold: economic significance and military implications. The string of pearls serves as a conduit for China's burgeoning trade and energy needs, particularly with the Indian Ocean region. It allows China to diversify its energy imports, reduce dependence on the Strait of Malacca, and enhance its economic influence in the region. On the military front, the string of pearls has profound implications. It provides China with strategically placed locations that can be used to project power, monitor sea lanes, and potentially challenge the dominance of other naval powers in the region. This strategic move by China has raised eyebrows in India. There's a growing concern that the string of pearls will encircle India, curtailing its own influence in the region and potentially threatening its national security. In response, India has been strengthening its naval capabilities and engaging in regional diplomacy to counterbalance China's expanding influence. Closing. A string of pearls or a noose tightening around India's neck? That's the question on everyone's lips. The answer isn't clear-cut and is a subject of intense debate among analysts. However, one thing is certain: the string of pearls is reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the Indian Ocean region, and its effects will be far-reaching. Opening. How does India view this string of pearls? From India's vantage point, the string of pearls is more than just an economic venture. It's a chess game where the stakes are high. The network of Chinese-funded ports and naval bases dangling like a necklace around the Indian Ocean heightens India's concerns. These concerns are not unfounded. Firstly, there's the fear of limitation on India's influence. With China's growing presence, India might find its freedom of operation in the Indian Ocean curtailed. This is the ocean that has been India's backyard for centuries. Secondly, there's the concern of increased Chinese influence. The string of pearls could potentially amplify China's economic and political sway in the region, possibly at India's expense. Lastly, there's a sense of encirclement. With each new pearl added to the string, the fear of encirclement among Indians grows. The question is, will this lead to an eventual stranglehold? But India is not standing idle. It's responding with a three-pronged strategy. Firstly, it's bolstering its naval capabilities, modernizing its fleet, and expanding its presence in the Indian Ocean. Secondly, it's engaging in regional diplomacy, seeking to counterbalance China's influence by aligning with other regional powers. And lastly, it's developing its own infrastructure projects, like the Sagarmala program, to enhance maritime capabilities and connectivity. Closing. Is India fighting a losing battle, or is there a glimmer of hope? So will China's string of pearls strangle India? We've journeyed through the intricate details of this geopolitical strategy, and now it's time to revisit the big question. Analysts are divided on this. The string of pearls, with its network of ports and naval bases, certainly presents a challenge to India's regional influence and security. It could restrict India's access to the Indian Ocean, boost China's regional influence, and create a sense of encirclement. However, to assume it will strangle India might be too far-fetched. India isn't sitting idle. It's strengthening its naval capabilities, engaging in diplomatic ties with other regional powers, and investing in infrastructure projects to boost its maritime connectivity. Ultimately, the impact of the String of Pearls on India hinges on China's use of its growing regional influence and India's response to these challenges. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the String of Pearls is a geopolitical game changer.